and he had a sex tape on J-Lo.
Jennifer Lopez has multiple tapes.
We knew then that there was a nice tape out there on J-Lo.
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
His father done things to him that he should be in jail for.
And I can tell the video was graphic in nature.
Can't tell you about the first time I met him, the real truth. Can't speak on it, you know.
Some stories gotta be.
You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood.
Focus right now is Sean Combs because he's a sex trafficker and he's using music and entertainment to sex traffic. I know Jennifer Lopez has multiple tapes.
There's definitely a tape out there. Somebody gave me like a minute of a female that was allegedly J-Lo on it. I was gonna put out a DVD on that. J-Lo had her business attorney, this guy named Beanie Medina. He was the one managing J-Lo and Puffy at the time. That's the only reason we was going after J-Lo. J-Lo was with Puffy, so J-Lo was on the war, right? Her PR people. It was about 8 top-notch executives inside this meeting when I'm walking in. They were on me, so I was like, ooh, sure. You gotta remember Ja Rule and J-Lo had that hot song out at the time. Irv and Suge relationship was starting to get good. He was like, man, that tape you had on J-Lo, man.
Remember when Suge was saying that he had a sex tape with her? And he had a sex tape on J-Lo. I mean, Suge, if she do this, nigga, you can't do that, nigga. Destroy that shit if you got it. He said, yo, Gotti, for you, tell her no one will ever see that shit. Has anyone...
You won't believe the latest on J-Lo. Rumor has it she's gone off the grid. Just before her court appearance, Jenny from the Block pulled a Houdini and disappeared into thin air. Talk about drama. Whispers are circulating that J-Lo's got some serious legal issues, and that's why she's not sticking around to face the music. Word on the street is that she's leaving the country. Something big must be behind it, because she's risking everything: her career, her music, her films, and her empire. This is no small matter. This could be a moment that changes everything for J-Lo. The tea is hotter than ever, and it's one wild ride.
Names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. And I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. They know who they are.
Yo, word on the street is that Jennifer Lopez will be required to testify in Diddy's trial, because she has allegedly been mentioned a bunch of times in the...
I mean, she was one of the close... I feel like anybody he dated should be, right? Because I'm pretty sure he shared stuff with them. You know, when you do your pillow talking? Yeah.
The new 120 lawsuits, but there's a bit of a problem. She's nowhere to be found. Jennifer Lopez has allegedly gone missing. Child, this can only mean one thing. She knows, guys. She knows. She knows she's going down for all the crimes she helped Diddy commit, and there's no way out. I mean, y'all have been saying for ages that she needs to be held accountable, and it looks like the day has finally come. That is, of course, if the feds can find her. Now, when it comes to J-Lo, we know that she was involved in the 1999 incident when she and Diddy were together and went to a nightclub called Hot Chocolate at Midtown's Club New York in December 1999 to celebrate the release of Shine's soon-to-be-released album. Based on reports, when it reached around 2:20 a.m., Diddy accidentally knocked a drink out of a patron's hand named Matthew Allen, whose street name is Scar. Apparently, Scar didn't take it as an accident, and he confronted Diddy over knocking down his drink. One thing led to another, egos were bruised, were fired, and Natanya Rubin, who was caught in the crossfire, confirmed that J-Lo smuggled the Bang Bang into the club, and she is the one who handed it to Diddy before they ran away. Honey, immediately after...
That's so crazy, man. Like, so, like a lot of these clubs, like they don't be searching the women like they do the men. And you see how easy that is? Like, if you want to like set somebody up, you can have a girl go to a club and act like you don't even know her. That's so crazy, man. I mean, I've been to a lot of clubs back in my days, and, you know, there was like shots fired, but it was always like outside, people arguing in the parking lot.
But hold up, why was J-Lo even heading to court in the first place? The reason behind her testimony might leave you shook. What if I told you it's not about her music or movies at all? This tea is piping hot, and it's about to spill all over J.Lo's perfect image. Girl, let me break it down for you. Jenny from the block wasn't just dodging a parking ticket or dealing with some petty celeb drama. This is some serious business that's got everyone in Hollywood talking. Word on the street is that J.Lo was set to testify in a high-profile case involving some major players in the entertainment industry. Now, J.Lo's been in the game for years. She's seen it all, done it all, and probably knows where all the bodies are buried, if you catch my drift. But this time, it looks like she may have gotten herself mixed up in something way bigger than she ever expected. Some folks are saying it's all about a massive money laundering operation happening right under our noses. We're talking millions of dollars here. Here's where it gets juicy. Rumors suggest that J.Lo wasn't just a witness. She might have been involved in some capacity. I'm not saying she's guilty of anything, but you know how it goes in Hollywood. Sometimes you sign a contract, make a deal, and before you know it, you're caught up in something you never saw coming. Shady deals, major names in showbiz, and guess who may have unintentionally stumbled right into the middle of it all?
Sped away in a 1999 Lincoln Navigator, but ran a red light and were pulled over by the police. Based on police reports, they were both in possession of a stolen 9mm, which was found in the trunk, and they were both arrested. But J.Lo's horror show didn't end there, because her next 14 hours were spent in a cell. And a police source said she took turns crying unintelligibly and sobbing uncontrollably. Eventually, both Diddy and J.Lo walked away. But unfortunately, Shine was the fall guy for the incident because J.Lo lied to the jury about what happened and protected Diddy. Guys, this right here, this is what they're going to get J.Lo for. And the unfortunate thing for J.Lo is that people like Shine and Natanya are willing to collaborate with the feds. Natanya even said that she was willing to have the fragments taken out of her face for ballistics evidence because she is happy to have the case reopened.
So none of this is breaking news. All the stuff they're talking about right now. You know, I clicked on this more so about where the hell J.Lo is at. Like, is she trying to get away from, you know, testifying? Hopefully they'll get into that.
Like, she is willing to have a doctor remove a part of it in her face so that they can use it as evidence if need be for the trial, even if it will cost her her life. You see, according to Natanya, at the time when the incident happened, people believed Diddy more than her. But at the time, she couldn't do anything because, one, Diddy was more powerful, and two, she was also a mother, and her focus was just getting to her kids safely. But now she feels like justice finally needs to be served, and even J.Lo needs to go down for her involvement and for lying in front of a jury. Basically, J.Lo smuggled a firearm into a club, handed it to Diddy, who had the intention to harm. Then she and Diddy ran away after the incident, lied about what happened. They made sure J.Lo also lied to the police and to the grand jury, and then they both made sure that someone else went to jail for their crime. The other thing is that Lil Rod mentioned the 1999 incident in his lawsuit, alleging that Diddy bragged about getting away with crimes. Specifically, Lil Rod shared that Diddy was responsible for what happened in the nightclub in New York City with Shine because he bragged about getting away with it. Speaking of Shine, after Diddy's apology video went viral, he's one of the people who reacted, and in a post shared on Instagram, Shine denounced Diddy and showed his support for those who were affected by Diddy's actions, saying, "I vehemently denounce the repugnant behavior of Sean Diddy Combs captured on the video. As a father of a precious daughter, a global citizen, and the next Prime Minister of Belize, I want absolutely nothing to do with people who engage in this pattern of diabolical behavior." Shine has actually also been very vocal about how he believes that both J.Lo and Diddy should be made to pay for their crimes. So if the feds are looking into all these other cases that were swept under the rug, there are pretty high chances that J.Lo will need to answer for her crimes as well. Okay, other than this incident, people are also saying that J.Lo witnessed firsthand how Diddy can get in different other situations. For instance, there was a time when
Quick question, because like the whole situation with Cassie in the video we seen and Diddy, they're saying Diddy can't be charged for that because it happened, you know, it happened so long ago. Is that the same case with this whole Shine situation? You know, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Can he be charged for that because it was so long ago? Or what would they be charging him for exactly?
Deal was given a story about how Diddy threatened to put his hands on Will Smith because Will and Jada were allegedly hoping to hook up with J-Lo. Apparently, when Will and Jada started talking to J-Lo, suggestively, Diddy was visibly upset. So he walked to Will Smith and straight up told him that he felt like he was trying to hook up with J-Lo. He literally wanted to punch Will Smith and requested that Gene remain in his vicinity in case he needed protection.
Birthday party that I think either Matt Damien was giving for Ben Affleck.
It said Matt
It was
Damien.
just a little gathering. They was at the Four Seasons. Will Smith and his sister and her husband, we were all sitting on this side of the room. Matt Damien.
Ben
Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, Puff, Will Smith, and Jada, and it was sitting on the other side of the room. So I know Puff so well that he stood up. When he stood up, he walked and did his arm some kind of way, like, and then he was like this, you know, like that. I went over towards him. I know to go over there towards him. So I go over towards him, and he said to me, he said, "Yo, I think Will and Jada is trying to scoop up Jennifer. I want you to stay close, because I'm going to snuff them."
In addition,
with what we know, everything we know about Will and Jada, with that Red Table Talk and the August Alsina, whatever his name is, it's not hard to believe.
Imagine J-Lo taking the stand and spilling everything about what goes on behind the scenes in the music and film industries. That kind of testimony could completely shake things up. We're talking careers on the line, reputations in ruins, and even people facing jail time. But here's the thing, J-Lo has always been astute. She didn't just build her empire on talent. She's got serious business acumen and knows how to protect herself. So, if she's running, you better believe she has a good reason. Maybe she's protecting someone else, or maybe she knows something that could put her own safety at risk if she speaks out. Either way, it's clear that whatever's going on is serious enough to jeopardize everything she's worked so hard to achieve. Some are even suggesting this could all be one big miscommunication. But let's be real, we all know how the celebrity world works. When a big-name star like J-Lo disappears just before a crucial court date, you know something's off. What could J-Lo possibly know that's worth risking her entire career for? Is she protecting herself? Someone else? Who else could be involved in this mess? Everyone is asking these questions, and trust me, the answers are going to be shocking.
A firestorm surrounding music mogul Sean Diddy Combs in the wake of more than 100 new sex assault allegations. We're wondering, how dangerous really is Diddy? Now, he's been denied bail twice, we know, by two different judges. This week, his legal team, by the way, submitted a notice of appeal to the U.S. District Court, trying to reverse those rulings and get him out. He's being held in federal jail, the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center, and he maintains his innocence. Now, before we start talking about his upcoming federal case, let's look back a little bit at the turbulent times of Sean Diddy Combs.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now.
As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers. Agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether.
There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything. He's been looking forward to this day. He's been looking forward to clearing his name, and he's going to clear his name. And we're going to stand by his side as he does. We believe in him wholeheartedly.
Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15. 25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of.
He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent. And we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight anymore.
We have a very special guest we want to welcome in now. He's a retired NYPD detective, widely known as the hip-hop cop, Derek Parker. Derek, good morning to you. Thanks for coming on Opening Statements.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Let's take a trip back to the 90s together, please. Back in the 90s, set the scene for us. I understand that you were tapped to start up the NYPD's Rap Intelligence Unit.
Yes, I was given that task to create this unit to deal with the violence in the hip-hop community and to provide a better understanding of what went on from the police commissioner and the chief of department.
So then how did you get in contact with Diddy for the first time? What was the first time you two crossed paths?
Well, I've been watching Diddy for a while, back in the 90s, and one of the bigger events that I had was the shooting at Club New York involving himself with J-Lo and Shine. I was tasked to go there, and I got a phone call in the middle of the night to get up and go to the city because this happened. And when I went to the precinct that night, it was very chaotic because all the lawyers were outside and they were all applauding me, saying somebody with brains has finally showed up. We want to see our client. It was really, really a chaotic scene. So basically what happened was that there was a shooting inside the club where Diddy, I call him Puff back then, was in the car with J-Lo and Wolf, his bodyguard. They took off and left, and Shine, who was with them, apparently came out with a gun in his hand, and the police arrested him on the spot. And then what happened was that while they were in the precinct, they brought J-Lo and Diddy back with Wolf to the Midtown North precinct. And when they brought them back, I spoke with them very briefly, and then we transported them back to Midtown South. That was when the precinct of occurrence was. And then the DA came in, and then he handled the case from there, and then they did the interviews, and then we went from there.
Forget the rumors on the ground. J-Lo is raising the stakes in this drama. Whispers on the streets are saying she's disappeared in an unexpected location, and whether she's hidden in plain sight or chilling on a secret island, tracking her down won't be easy. Jenny from the block is notoriously hard to pin down, and this time around, she's not making it easy for the paparazzi. We all know how much she loves to look good, and we remember those iconic photos of her lounging on yachts in St. Tropez or sunbathing on beaches in Turks and Caicos. But this time, no envious Instagram posts, no designer bikini snapshots. Everyone's talking about her disappearance, and the mystery only grows. So, where could she be? Some people are speculating that she might have made her way to Argentina. It's far enough from the US for her to feel safe, especially with all the legal drama swirling around. Plus, J-Lo has a soft spot for Latin America, and with her Spanish skills, she could easily blend in. But wait, what if she's somewhere even more unexpected? Some have suggested Dubai. It's a celebrity playground, packed with luxury and privacy, and not exactly known for its extradition laws. Imagine J-Lo holed up in an ultra-exclusive resort, soaking up the sun while her attorneys take care of business back home. Wherever she is, it's clear she's playing the game with serious strategy, and she's not making it easy for anyone to catch up with her.
Do you agree with how that case wound up proceeding against Shine?
Well, I have to say that, Shine was caught with a gun that night, so it happened with him. I can't say he's totally innocent, but, it went the way it went. I mean, it was very difficult because there were conflicting statements from witnesses that said what Diddy did. One person said he had a gun. Some people said he didn't have a gun. It was just a lot of things going on back then. The DA had a very tough time to prosecute that case.
I was going to ask you about that, Detective. Weren't there two guns, according to some accounts, that Shine had one and Diddy had the other?
Well, the other gun you're talking about was probably found in the car that they were traveling in. That was the second gun that was that had been found that night. So the police had recovered two guns. You're correct in that.
Gotcha. And so, Detective Derek, so that was the first time you crossed paths, and then along the way, I understand you had more and more interaction with him, more arrests, so many so that you started getting the nickname Diddy's Detective. Tell us kind of how that happened, please.
Well, what happened was that, I've been following Diddy for a while. I mean, the East Coast, West Coast war was in the early 90s when that happened, out there with Bad Boy Records and then Death Row Records with Suge Knight. So, I mean, I traveled to Los Angeles and to Las Vegas back then, but I followed Diddy. I followed his career, and every time he got into trouble, I would get called by the chief or the chief of detectives or the PC. The police commissioner would call me as well when he wanted information about what went on with this individual. So he had the Steve Stout assault at MTV with the MTV thing, so I had dealt with that. But it was a lot of things that people started nicknaming me Diddy's cop, because every time he got into trouble, I was there. I had to be there to give the brass and the department an update on what was going on with him and why these things were happening with him.
Mm-hmm. Detective, tell me, when Tupac was shot at the recording studio in New York, and at the same time he was shot, we know Diddy's in the building, were you called in to investigate that?
I was on the phone with the detective that was responding to that scene, and I told him it was going to be very difficult for him to really get a handle on what was going on, because, people had called me and told me what was going on with that shooting at the Tupac studio. So I knew it was going to be very difficult to get Tupac to cooperate and to say who shot him. And there was always some banter that he may have shot himself when he pulled his gun out as he was being robbed. Mm-hmm. And that was always the case back then.
I think he did, right? I think that was documented that he did accidentally shoot himself in addition to being shot by someone else.
That is
right,
correct. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for that, Detective. And so then, here we go. Things progressed, right? The rap wars, as you know, the East Coast, West Coast rivalry, and then Tupac is killed. Were you consulted on that? I'm so curious if you were consulted as to what you may have known about Diddy at the time.
Well, I went out when Tupac was killed, I had told my superiors here in New York that we were going to have a problem with this. And I keep remembering this same line. My inspector said, Derek, listen, they don't kill people in rock and roll. Why are you involved in this? And I said, well, this is going to be a big deal, because I was in the cold case squad. I was doing unsolved homicides for a long time. And my captain didn't really want me to be pulled over into this rap intelligence thing, but it just happened. And then when Biggie Smalls got killed, that was the biggest problem that we had in New York, because I had to formulate a plan for his burial and for the funeral, and for all the threats that were being given out to Diddy, to Little Kim, to several people involved in his entourage at this funeral. And that's when we had a big problem in New York, where we had to come up with an attack plan to make sure that everybody came here that was safe and that we had any problems, and Diddy wasn't really assassinated by some people that wanted to get at him.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you offered that, Detective. Thank you. That was going to be the next thing I was going to ask, your involvement when Biggie was killed. In your detective work, in particular, following Diddy, keeping tabs on him, knowing what's going on, investigating some of these incidents you mentioned, did you ever come across any information tying him to either the murder of Tupac Shakur or the murder of Biggie Smalls?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. The murder of Tupac Shakur was done by some individuals that were out in LA. It's an LA-based informational about the people that were involved. Diddy had some beefs with Tupac back then, but to say that he was directly involved in that right now, that's too premature to say that. There's been a lot of talk about, this payment for for assassination against Tupac that maybe Diddy provided, but that's really inconclusive right now. I have to see how that really forms out. As far as the Biggie case is concerned, the individuals that were involved in that, one of the individuals is dead, from what I know. And in the Tupac case, 3 of the individuals are dead, and there's only one person that's still alive, and that's Keefe D, and he's going to be going on trial next year sometime for the murder of Tupac.
Right, Detective. And as you said, a big question is whether or not information may come in about any alleged payment, allegedly for $1 million for the deaths of Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. Was that statement made by Diddy is a big question here. I'm wondering if we're going to get some answers. Detective Derek Parker, I have so many more questions for you. You have lived a fascinating life. You've written a book about some of your casework. Take a look at this. You got it up on the screen. Notorious C.O.P. Inside the story of the Tupac, Biggie, and Jam Master Jay investigations from the NYPD's first hip-hop cop, Derek Parker, with Matt Deal. I can't wait to read your book, and I'd love to have you come back on the program. As you know, this investigation is quite voluminous, and we have the trial of Keefe D coming up as well very soon, and there could be somewhat of an intersection, as you know.
Now, some of you might be thinking, what about Europe? And honestly, you're not wrong for wondering. J.Lo's been known to love a good Italian getaway, but girl, that might be too obvious. If she's really trying to stay under the radar, she might need to think outside the box, and that brings me to the wildest theory I've heard yet. Are you ready for this? Some insiders are saying J.Lo might have gone way off the grid, like to a remote island in the South Pacific. Think Fiji, Bora Bora, or even somewhere more secluded. Can you imagine J.Lo roughing it in a private villa with no glam squad, just hiding out until this whole thing blows over? It would be a whole new level of low-key.
Is the latest
But here's the kicker. Wherever J.Lo is, she's not alone. You know her hubby, Ben Affleck, isn't about to let her face this drama solo. The real question is, did he go with her from the start, or is he playing it cool to throw people off the scent? And let's not forget about J.Lo's twins, Max and Emmy. Are they with her, or did she leave them behind with family to keep them out of this mess? You know the mommy shamers would have a field day if they found out she left her kids while all this chaos unfolded. Now, I've got to spill the hottest bit of tea. A little birdie told me that J.Lo's crew is scrambling to find her. Apparently, she veered off the plan and didn't even notify anyone of her whereabouts. The woman known for being a control freak in her professional life? Well, she's thrown caution to the wind and vanished without a trace.
That she isn't saying anything. You'd think she'd offer something. You'd think she'd say it when Cassie was videos came out, but what is she hiding? Why isn't she speaking? That's the big question I have. These two were together for a long time. In fact, a new clip just resurfaced. A lot of Wendy's Williams clips are coming out, but here's one. J.Lo's mom was clearly not into Diddy.
I was telling you that I could always see you getting back with Puffy in a little way.
I remember you said
yes.
that. Yes.
Or in my mind.
Look at
Or in my mind, getting together permanently with
well, first
Pitbull.
of all, right, Pitbull, it's crazy. Everybody came alive. They all had something to say.
Yeah, everybody has an opinion.
Yes, it's funny to me.
So, but all right, so no Puffy, but I see you in Pitbull. But one of them you write about.
No Puffy, no Puffy. Now, she's spoken about Puffy. Puffy cheated on her. That was sort of what she had said. But there was a lot more to this story, guys, that I thought was important of revisiting now with these accusations really charged. And so the charge is so bad that he's still remaining in jail. So let's go through what happened in New York. You tell me if you think J.Lo has something to hide. If you're unfamiliar, I want to break it down. The history of the New York scandal in a shooting case. On December 28th, 1999, Sean Puffy Combs and then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez have been celebrating a soon-to-be-released album by Shine, aka Jamal Barrow, who's right here. That's Shine, in the Midtown Club in New York. They were leaving when Combs, carrying a bottle of champagne, accidentally jostled one of the club's patrons, knocking a drink out of his hand. The man, Matthew Allen, a street tough known as Scar, responded with a shove. Things escalated. One of Allen's companions allegedly threw a stack of money in Combs' face, and shots were fired, leaving 3 people injured. Combs and Lopez were arrested fleeing the scene in a Lincoln Navigator with a pew-pew in the trunk. J-Lo was quickly absolved. Now, during the trial itself, the trial lasted 7 weeks and included 60 witnesses, 126 court exhibits. It was a battle of wills between the Manhattan District Attorney and Mr. Combs, who rejected a plea bargain that required jail time. Although witnesses said they'd seen Combs with the pew-pew and his driver testified that his boss had bribed him to claim ownership, the legal team, including Johnny Cochran, created enough doubt that Combs was acquitted. I don't know if you know this, Judge, but this person, Jennifer Lopez, is a very famous actress, one lawyer pointed out. To think Mr. Combs is walking around with her with a loaded pew-pew, it's so ridiculous that it stretches the imagination. Is it now? Prosecutor Matthew Bondanos set out to prove that Mr. Combs took advantage of his celebrity from the moment he strode into the club in New York. Neither he nor his members or his entourage were searched as regular patrons would. He also noted that once under arrest, Combs expected the same special treatment from the legal system. Mr. Bondanos already argued, attempting to influence witnesses through offers of cash, etc. Prosecution witnesses, including the most seriously injured victim, Natania Rubin, testified that Mr. Allen, who goes by the nickname Scar, threatened to kill Mr. Barrow, Shine, who performs under the name Shine. Miss Rubin then said she saw flashes from 2 shots, one each fired by Combs and Shine, and grasped her face as a bullet smashed into her nose. After 2 days of deliberations, a jury this evening acquitted Sean Combs, hip-hop mogul, of possession and bribery charges stemming from this incident in Manhattan in 1999. In the end, it was Shine who was served almost 9 years for possession, reckless endangerment, etc., though he did so angrily, claiming Combs had sold him out to save his own skin. After his acquittal, Combs changed his nickname to P. Diddy in hopes of putting his...
You may have thought J-Lo's decision to leave her team was crazy, but wait until you hear what's happening to her finances. This small move could end up costing her much more than a few high-end purses. We're talking about an empire that's about to crumble. Let's break it down, shall we? J-Lo's built an entire empire for herself. Clothing lines, music, movies, perfumes, you name it. She's got her name slapped on everything, but now all of that could come crashing down faster than you think. Jenny from the Block might be working on a new album, but with all this drama swirling around, who's going to want to collaborate with her? Reports say producers are quitting left and right, her tours are being canceled, and no venue will take the risk of booking her when they don't even know if she'll show up. And that's just the beginning, honey. J-Lo's face is all over billboards and TV ads, selling everything from designer clothing to makeup. But those major brands? They're not about to let someone who's on the run tarnish their reputation. Contracts are already being broken, and all those millions of dollars she was supposed to rake in? Gone, just like last season's fashion. And don't even get me started on her film career. She was supposed to star in some major Hollywood blockbusters, but guess what? Directors are already searching for replacements because in Hollywood, if you're not in the spotlight, they move on to the next big thing fast. It looks like J-Lo's empire could be on the verge of crumbling, and this drama is threatening to take everything she's built with it.
Something he did recently as well, calling himself Love, as he knew all these allegations were coming. The Love album. Now, fast forward, Tanya has now spoken out. She is willing to remove the bits from her face to prove it was in fact Diddy who shot her. She was one of the victims and said, who better to tell you what happened than the person who got shot smack dab between the eyes. She said that she spent the past 25 years trying to get justice for the night she claims Combs shot her in the face, not Shine. She tells News Nation she doesn't believe Diddy was properly charged, and she continues to fear for her life. She believes she's also putting her life at risk by speaking out at Diddy. Good for her, she did before a lot of others did. I live a simple, quiet, risk-averse life, so if I should meet with an untimely demise, it would require a deep investigation. I understand the peril of what I'm exposing. She remained adamant since the shooting that it was Combs who shot her, and that she was facing them when they pulled it and saw Combs do it in her nose. She filed the $130 million lawsuit, there she is right there, for compensation against him in 2008 and settled in 2011. Now, Shine has since defended himself. He was out there saying I felt I was the fall guy but he still doesn't blame Diddy. In the wake of the allegations from the infamous club in 1999, Jamal Shine-Barrow spoke out saying he's the fall guy, but isn't placing the blame on Diddy, probably because he got some money. It opens wounds. Everyone knew all along I was the fall guy. My political enemies tried to make me into the criminal. Everyone knew I took the fall, but he maintained his innocence, saying at all this time I was defending myself. I did not shoot them. I maintained that I shot nobody. But he still wouldn't put out the, that Diddy did it. That's what's really frustrating. Now, furthermore, Little Rod opened up about this as well in his lawsuit, which we have here. And he opened up that he found filed this explosive lawsuit, as we know, and he was often bragging about, bragging over and boasting over the fact that he got away with it. That's what he was saying in this lawsuit. Law enforcement tell the Post that the infamous shooting and the trial could potentially be reinvestigated as part of this federal probe, which is now happening. Diddy is arrested, but they got eyes on him in Miami, and the feds are talking to witness after witness who is familiar with the case. They're corroborating everything they can, but everything past and present is on the table. Woo! So yeah, this is where we stand. Now, Netanya has been very vocal. She has fought back, as we know. She's made it clear she'll do whatever she has, even open up her face. And now a lot of other clips of J-Lo's mom coming forward about how she would never allow it to her daughter to go back with him, as we just saw at the beginning of this video. This idea, could J-Lo have held the weapon in her purse in that club so he could get it in easier? That's always been the question. What did she know? Why did she get off so easily? Why is she not talking now? Why not express the whole frustration of what you did back then and throw this monster finally under the bus, or admit he didn't do it? It's very odd to me that she and so many others are staying silent now that so much is out there. Is she waiting for the guilty verdict? I just think it's a little too late, J-Lo. Now is your chance as you're trying to rebuild your brand. I know you were together, you had a history. Tell us the truth. I think at this point it's important you give us something to stand up for the victims and help put this away. Or are you complicit in it? And is that why you're silent? Look, I don't know. I want to know the truth, and that's why I find her silent.
Now, some of you might be thinking, but J-Lo's got that business savvy. She'll bounce back, and normally, I'd agree with you. But this isn't just some little scandal that can be wiped away with a well-timed apology and a few crocodile tears on a talk show. We're talking about serious legal trouble, the kind that makes investors run for the hills and business partners change their phone numbers. Let's be real. Unlike Martha Stewart, whose brand was built around a wholesome, relatable image and ultimately came back stronger, J-Lo's situation is a lot messier. She's got the glitz and glam, but this is a whole different ballgame. So what's next for J-Lo? Well, that all depends on how everything shakes out. If she returns and faces the music, she might be able to turn this whole fiasco into some kind of comeback story. You know how Hollywood loves a redemption arc. But if she stays in hiding, she could find herself going from on the floor to on the blacklist real quick. The longer she stays out of the public eye, the harder it'll be to recover her brand and rebuild her career. J-Lo's at a major crossroads, and whichever path she takes could determine whether she makes it back to the top or becomes Hollywood's next cautionary tale.
I believe, if it came down to it, she's definitely gonna get called to testify. They didn't really go into like where she's at or she's missing. I'm more so thinking maybe they meant, just because she's quiet right now. But yeah, man, I feel like when you go and you look back and you just look at all the pictures and videos and you see all these people that were close to Diddy, it's like that they knew what was going on. But like I said before, it's like this secret society where they party and they have this lifestyle, the lifestyle of the rich and famous, and people trying to advance in their career. You don't say nothing, you can move farther. The more you do, the more famous you can get, the more you see, and keep your mouth closed. You can, so that's what it is. Because like I said, I'll be looking at some people and I'll be like, man, how are these people so famous? Because it seems like a lot of people who don't seem that talented, you see them on the screen a lot, whether it's a damn TikToker or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, and the fact that, you know, she was like trying to block people's stuff from talking about her, that's almost like the same as everybody trying to, those celebrities that are deleting their tweets and all that. So what they say, the cat is out the bag already. I don't think there can be no backtracking. Only thing she could probably say is, you know, these are the things he was forcing her to do.
Can you believe all this drama? J.Lo's Girls on the Run scandal, skirting the law, and leaving her empire hanging by a thread. Rumors are now swirling that she's involved in a serious financial scandal. And get this, she's ghosted everyone, even her own team. What happens next for Jenny from the block? Will she return to the spotlight or stay hidden while her career tanks? And will Ben stick by her side, or cut his losses and walk away? This could end up being one of the biggest celebrity scandals in history. J.Lo's always been a fighter, but it seems like she may have finally met her match. One thing's for sure, this drama is far from over. You can count on us to keep you updated with every twist and turn as it unfolds. The stakes are higher than ever, and we're here to bring you the inside scoop. Stay tuned.